Good evening everybody and welcome back to a brand new video. Today we are going to be making a tree house in The Sims 4. Now I did manage to fix my audio from last time where it just, for some reason, it started recording from my laptop, which is very odd and obviously sounded absolutely awful, so we have fixed that now. So luckily our audio for this video is going to be much better. But join me today in making a tree house in The Sims 4. I've got a couple of ideas of the way that I want to do this. I think we're either going to do a couple of different trees and then some walkways joining them, or what we can do is do one big house in a massive tree in The Sims, and it'll all be like connected in that one area as opposed to having sort of like platforms that lead off. But let's just crack on and make it and see what looks best. So I'm going to be using 14 Nettle Lane in Henford for this, just because I like all of the places in Henford because they got a lot of trees. But I think what I'm going to do is just add sort of several trees around this area, and then obviously we can add our big tree in the middle. So I have activated both debugs, so I think what I'm going to do is actually go grab a tree out of debug, because I think that will then make it so that your sim can kind of go through it. I'm pretty sure if we can get a tree from there, then it should work. The main thing that's worrying me is that we're going to have a lot of like big, obviously like leafy areas, which then might get in the way. Part of me is tempted to just grab a tree that is like has no leaves on it at all, and then we use like bushes or something in order to add the greenery. My main concern is literally just that we wouldn't be able to actually see inside the house, which obviously is not great. I don't want it to end up clipping in. Like, this house is like, this tree is really cool, but obviously we would have that issue. I guess we could do it a little bit lower down, like here. We do have like these big branches here that would kind of work, although this one's really cool. I feel like, would this work? This like big one here, I've made it slightly smaller anyway, but I'm kind of thinking that what you could then do is have one over here and then maybe like some little stairs that lead up here to a secondary area. So I'm gonna have to go with that, but mainly because we can then do other sections coming off of it, like a little something over here and then something big up here. But let's crack on and start trying to make it. So the way that I'm gonna do this is to make a box just on the ground, and that's literally all, like, it can be any size. I'm just going to keep it kind of small for now because we can make it bigger later. Add a second level, and then we're going to go ahead and just delete this bottom one. Now we then have a box that we can basically just move around, and the way to do that is oh, I just realized if you zoom in, your tree disappears. So that's not amazing, because I kind of wish that it would stay there, but I guess all trees do that when you get closer to them. So I guess when you're actually in the house, it's going to look a bit strange, but I think that's actually fine, because then it's not going to get in the way when you're actually playing, but it looks nice from a distance. So let's drag this all the way up. The way that you can move this box now, that this floating box that you have, is literally just using this inside arrow, and that'll lift it up and down, and you can literally put it all the way to the floor if you wanted. But basically this is our second floor, or like, I guess you would, so in the UK you would call it your first floor, in America you call it your second floor. And then the way that we can move it sideways is just extending it and then making it shorter again. And as you can see, it's kind of already sitting on this tree here, so I've got to kind of work out where I want it to actually be. I'm going to lift it up like a little bit more, I think, and I kind of want it to sit on this first little hump that we've got in this tree here. And this is, I think, going to be a slightly smaller room compared to the other one. I'm going to like pull it in a little bit more there. How is that looking? That looks all right. I don't know whether maybe we could we pull it a little bit further up? It could literally sit inside the tree, to be honest, like this, and that does make it make a bit more sense, I think. Yeah, I think that makes sense. So we've got our first room there. I think I might actually make it a little bit smaller. I really do want this first one to be small, and then I want a bigger one up here where we have way more space. So I'm gonna just do the same thing in order to get that second room. Remove this bottom floor. Then we have our next room that I'm then just going to drag all the way up. You've got to like build in like 3-dimension when you're doing this kind of thing, which is kind of fun. But the idea is that I just want it sort of around here. Obviously there it is like sticking straight into it, which I think I do want it to be like not have that many of the actual like branches sticking straight into my build. I would more want them sitting on the branches, I think. So this is where we're kind of at the moment. I feel like it looks pretty good. The only difficult bit that is going to come, I think, is trying to get some kind of stairs from here to here, which is definitely going to be difficult. So I'm trying to just think about how that's actually going to work in real life. I'm wondering whether maybe it might actually be better to try and put a secondary box over here, just so that we can have some additional stairs that take us up and down this, because there is quite a big difference between here and here. What I was thinking to actually get into the building itself is that we could just literally use like a ladder, and that obviously is quite easy. So what I think I'm going to test out is if we do a little section coming off of here, we might be able to do like almost an entrance to this other room. Can we do stairs that lead directly from there to this top? We can. Okay, so that kind of works, but you would have to go up onto that top floor of the house in order to get it to work. And I mean, it doesn't look amazing. I'm wondering whether it might actually be better to maybe do it one square back instead. I mean, I don't think it looks that bad. It's kind of weird because it's not in line with obviously this like tree part here, but I think it does look kind of cool. And I think it'll be better once we've started adding in all of the colors that are going to make it actually fit better like together as like a treehouse. So once we start adding all the wood and everything, it should look better. So I'm pretty happy with that. At least that works. We'll then have to work out some way for you to get to this rooftop section from the downstairs part. But we can then go in and do our next ladder, which I think I'm going to do just like a little one that comes down here in this corner. And it's basically going to be like around here, like here in this corner there. Oh no, that's taking it too far. I need it to be like downstairs, not upstairs. There we go. So now we've got that leads us up there. How does that look? Not that great, actually. Weirdly, not that great. I feel like it needs to be somewhat more in the middle. Or where else could it be? If we did it like maybe a couple next to it? I mean, this one's just going straight into the trunk. How does that look? Because I think it would still be usable if it was like that. Technically, you couldn't actually get through it, and it is sticking out where obviously the trunk is, so it doesn't work amazingly there, I don't think. But if we did it like one to the side, it might be better. Let's have a look now. How does that look? I mean, I don't think it looks that bad. It is like a lot more visible though than I was kind of expecting it to be. I think we should go ahead and change some colors, because I think what's making it worse is that all of the colors are very like intense. We could also add some like trees and things. I actually don't think it looks that bad from looking at it at distance, and we can look at it mainly from this angle. I think it's okay, but let's start adding in our colors, and I think it will start to blend in a little bit better. I do want a pond and stuff as well, maybe like over here, and that'll make it look a lot nicer too. So obviously we're going to make it so it's very handmade in terms of this, so this kind of thing is pretty good. It's not exactly the right color though. We do have some stuff from the ranch pack which would work well, I think, as well, like this. You just want it to be slightly darker though, something like this. Yeah, that looks perfect. And we'll do that on both of them. I'm going to use, I think I do want to go back to what I was doing before and just add like a little balcony almost over on this side, just because I think it'd be kind of cute to have a balcony there, even though like technically I think this is also going to be reachable, this part up here. So what I can do is also just add a section up here that we can then make into a balcony as well. We've got to work out how like sort of rustic I want to make this, because we could do stuff like that, or we have like these which are very rustic but they look kind of cool. I think that is kind of cool, to be fair. I prefer this more like rustic style. The only issue that I'm having here is that the color is slightly off now. I feel like this also works, so we could go with that. And there is enough space as well that we can do the same thing up here too, if we wanted to try and get on top of it. I'll change it up a little bit over on this side though, maybe, and we'll do slightly different ones. I kind of like these. Yeah, that looks a little bit nicer. The color's a bit off though. Okay, I wasn't a big fan of the color matching, so I have gone back to these colors. I think they look a lot nicer. Then obviously we're just going to go wood again for our like rooftop area. I just kind of want to match it to what is already there. Okay, so I've gone in and just added some trims. We've changed the colors a little bit so they're a bit nicer, and I'm feeling pretty good about this now. So the bit I want to do before moving on to just doing anything else is just to test to make sure that this actually works and that our sim can get all the way from the ground floor to the top floor. So what I'm going to do is also just add in obviously our door that takes us up to this higher up section over here. If this doesn't work, I have literally zero idea of how to fix it. It should work, so we will find out. So I've got my test sim here, who actually is the one that lives on this lot, and we are just going to ask them to go to here. I've just realized it's removed my stairs for some reason, and I think it's mainly done that because... Oh no, it hasn't removed the stairs, it's just because we changed the what we could see. So this should be fine. Let's see if he can get there. If he can't, I'm going to be very upset. So is he going? He's going. So he's going, and that's a good sign so far, is that it hasn't turned around and been like, yeah, we don't want that. I have just realized he's not actually going to be able to get up there though, because we have no way of getting to this second floor. So I'm going to have to go in and just add maybe another one of these just to quickly allow him to do that. And we'll just add it, we'll add it next to the other one. I'm going to add it here so that it doesn't fill up too much of the room.
If you're enjoying this video so far, be sure to like, share and subscribe.
He may have stopped moving because he wouldn't be able to get up there. So let's quickly just get him go up there. No, he's going down the stairs again. So let's see if he can get up there. He's going to have to try again in a second. So he's climbing up the first part. He stopped. Okay, why can't he continue? I think he did get up to the next section. Okay, he's saying that he can't move. Can he get out of this bit? He can. So he should be able to theoretically climb up this ladder. Okay, so I had to move the ladder around a little bit, but if I put it here, for some reason it works. So that's fine, at least it works there. So now he should theoretically be able to walk all the way up here to our top room. Let's see if he's able to do that. Yeah, it seems to be working. There we go. Okay, cool. So he can get now from the ground all the way to the top floor, and it doesn't seem to cause any problems with that tree being there. And he seems to actually find it easier to get all the way down for some reason. So now that we've found out that it's actually functional and that you can get all the way to the top, we can then go in and start decorating. So I'm going to do the same wood pattern on the inside of the house than what we have on the outside, just so that it makes it feel a little bit more like it's actually been created. I might do the same with the flooring as well, just because it makes sense for the whole thing to be wood. So I'm going to do that upstairs and over here. We then need to kind of work out what I'm actually even going to do. So I'm considering this area over here to be like the sort of living area. Obviously we have quite a lot of space over here, well, quite a lot for a small build. We can definitely do the bathroom coming off of this area over here, and obviously we do have as well this top balcony section, and if I add stairs, this top balcony section over here too, which is a decent amount. What I'm actually thinking, if we go further back, we could do a little covered area up here as well. Technically it is covered, it's covered by leaves, but we could do a little covered area so we can have a covered dining space and actually just make it an additional, like, we can just make it slightly bigger. I think that's probably a good idea. So I'm gonna actually just make this into a walled area that goes all the way across here, and then this will basically just be a separate sort of balcony. And I think we can actually just add a roof to that top part. So our main housing area is actually over here. So I'm trying to work out now what the bottom part I can actually use it for. I'm thinking we could do that as a living area, and then over here we can have like the bed almost, and then we can have a bathroom. But obviously we do need our kitchen and things in places, so I'm honestly not too sure. So I've added this part in now. I'm thinking that this needs to be either a lot of windows or actually be open. I didn't want it to be like its own like room kinda. I kind of just wanted it to be very like open and airy. So I'm thinking we could do something like this, or we do have these ones as well, which are very open too. I think it might actually just be better to open the whole thing up. I think it'll just feel a little bit better. Feel a bit less like that's actually just a room. Then let's add some pillars just to these edges, and I think that's looking a little bit better now. We then obviously need our stairs that lead up to this area. I'm just going to go with these ones again, just because it does save on a lot of space, and this is quite a small build. We need to work out where we want our bathroom as well. So I'm thinking that our bathroom is actually going to have to be up here somewhere in this big area. So obviously we've got our, let's have a look at our grid space. I would rather try to make it not a studio. So if we can make it actually, but I don't want to take up like a lot of room. I just think I just need to work out what's going on down here. To be fair, this could be our kitchen. You could walk into the kitchen, but it's a bit odd to walk straight into a kitchen. But I just don't know what else we would do. I think that kind of makes the most sense, to be honest. And then I guess you could have like a dining table up here. We don't have a lot of space. This is very small. I do want this to be for 2 people, so it kind of needs to be as like, it needs to have a double bed, which is going to take up like a lot of room. So it basically needs to be, let's have a look. So this could be a double bedroom, and then minimum for a bathroom really like would be like 3x1, but that's if you didn't want a sink in there, which I definitely feel like you're going to want a sink. Thinking we could do this, and then like that's still quite a small like space, but then this area over here is basically useless because it's so tiny. Alternatively, we actually make the bathroom up here, which is a bit odd, but to be fair, you could totally do a bathroom here and that would actually save you so much space. I can then just stick one of these there and we can make it have the wood shade. And to be fair, it doesn't look that bad. It's a little bit odd, but then we can put like, again, like our dining table there, and it just does save up. It saves a lot of space and it makes it look way less cluttered down here. And I think that's fine, because then we've got all of this space here to be able to do some kind of living area. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Let's go grab our door and we can pop that there. And then up here, we've obviously got our bathroom, which we'll put it there. Pretty happy with that. I think for windows, I'm not going to use any glass windows because we have quite a few windows which are just holes in the walls, and I feel like they will look so much better in just a treehouse that is just going to be all wood. We've got like these which are really pretty, and obviously I think I'm going to go a little bit more rustic with it. So stuff like this would probably work because it's literally just an open panel. I do want to try and get as much light in as possible, so something like this might be a bit better. Is there anything else that looks a bit more rustic and like just wooden? We do have these ones, and I feel like that works a little bit as well. I think these ones work the best, so I'm going to go with these, and we'll do one there, and obviously we need a door on the other side to get us out as well, and then we'll do another one here, and then obviously we can have a door on this side over here, and that should be fine. We can then go up to our next floor, which is obviously our main floor here, and I can add some more windows in here. There you go. I think that's a decent amount of windows, and obviously they can technically be closed. There obviously is a lot of like natural breeze coming in here, so bugs would definitely be a problem. So like I was saying, I'm thinking that I make this the kitchen. An alternative is obviously that we do the kitchen upstairs and we have it over this side. It is a bit weird, but I wonder whether that would actually work, and then this can be our living area where we've got like a little sofa and like it's more like comfy, and then over here we've got like a kitchen maybe on this side. We've obviously got our bathroom upstairs, and then we have our dining space as well. I think we can have multiple like sofas, to be honest. We can make this like as cozy as we can possibly make it. I think that would work. Let's do the kitchen up here, weirdly right next to the bedroom, but I guess it makes more sense because then you don't have to like carry your food from here all the way upstairs and to the dining area if you then wanted to eat, because that would just be stupid. So let's make this as cozy as possible in this tiny little area. I am gonna do off the grid, I think, as well, just because it makes sense. I don't know how you would get things like all the way here without it being off the grid. Like, how are you getting electricity? I think in this living area we won't have an overhead light, but we'll do it in the one that's upstairs just because it'll give us a much brighter room. Although it could be nice to just have like one of these little wall lights. We'll do them either side of this door here. Then we definitely need a rug just to make it like extra comfy. I like these ones that look like they're a little bit more sort of worn down. I think the red one looks quite nice. Then obviously we need some sofas. I think this one's actually quite good, but it's got tones of blue in it, so we might want to change this. I think that looks a little bit nicer. Then let's maybe grab a armchair to go with it. It's looking pretty cute at the moment. I think we need some kind of candles or something just on this side table. And then obviously I want to add like quite a lot of plants as well, just to make it look like much prettier inside. I think everything always looks better when you add loads of plants. I'm gonna maybe just go with this one that's just in a little glass bowl. We then have the space to be able to add more plants to this side section. Okay, so I definitely feel like it's looking a lot nicer now I've started adding these plants. I think we could do with a couple of items on the walls as well, just because we do have this sort of back section here that definitely needs something. I'm not too sure what though. Even like this I think goes quite well. I do think I kind of need to change the rug. We've gone with a different style now that doesn't really fit it. Let's see if we can get something else that might work a bit better. Weirdly, this one almost kind of goes. It goes a little bit better. I think the issue is that there's too many red items. We need it to be like a blue rug, I think. This one kind of goes. How does that look? It's very bright. I feel like it does need to be slightly darker. Yeah, this one, actually, I think I'm just going to go with this one. It kind of looks the best out of all the ones that we've looked at. We then have this whole section over here where we have like a lot of space. And obviously, when I zoom out, I think that's where there's actually, yeah, a massive tree trunk, but you wouldn't really be able to see that unless you were really zoomed out. So if you're playing the game, it doesn't really get in the way. I'm thinking what we could do is just add a bookcase here, and then we don't really have to put a lot there. I might put like a little picture just for when you're really zoomed like in, and then it shouldn't really cause too much of a problem. We do have this bookcase here, but obviously if I put that there, then we zoom out, it does get cut up by the tree trunk, but I think it's fine, to be honest. And then in this corner, we've got a guitar. I've added just a little bit of clutter just to make it feel a bit more lived in. And then I think we need one more picture just on this back wall here. There you go. I think that looks pretty good then for this little room. We do have this balcony as well, which I do want to add a few little bits to. I think we could add some plants and maybe even just a chair. There we go. So we've got some plants. Then I'm going to grab a chair. I don't know if I want to go with like an armchair. We could go with something a bit more rustic that's literally just like a stool, to be honest. I feel like that might actually make it look a little bit better. I don't honestly think you're going to be using it like that often, so I think a stool is actually fine there. So let's now move up. We've got this section on top of this room, which honestly no idea what I want to do with this. Half of me does want to add in like a painting easel, so I think I'm going to do that just so that it feels like you could come here and like paint and you get a really good view to be able to paint. And then I might just do like a couple of chairs or something as well. I don't want to do too much up here because we really don't have the space. Okay, so I've added a couple of chairs and then I've added some lights. I want to go in again and just add some additional plants just because I think we always need more plants. I'm just going to go with some more, just sort of, we're going with like more rustic ones, nothing where it's got like expensive looking pots and things. There we go, so I think that looks really good. We can now move over to our upstairs section, which is obviously going to be a little bit more tricky because we're going to have to fit in an entire kitchen and bedroom and obviously do our bathroom as well. So I've added this sort of like little chandelier thing in both of these rooms. They are two different ones, but they basically sort of just look the same. Upstairs in the bathroom, I think I'm just going to do the ones on the walls just because it's not really necessary for us to have one that's like hanging down. So I think let's start with our kitchen. I think we could either do it all the way around here or we could do it in this corner here. It would be very tightly packed if we did it over this side though. Which would be the best way to do this? I think I'm going to do it over here, but I might actually put like a fridge over on this side instead or on this side. And I really like these countertops, so I think I'm going to try and use these. What might actually be good is doing a counter over here that can just be one that we have our sink on. Then obviously we need our oven, so let's find one that works off the grid. We've got a couple of different ones. I do like this one, especially it comes in this like brown color that I think fits better with this sort of environment that we've picked. I think I'm going to pick the matching fridge for it as well, and we can pop that there. So it's looking pretty good so far. I'm looking at this though and thinking that actually maybe you wouldn't be able to get through there to get to the stairs. What we can do is do a test run for it, or to be honest I could just remove these edges and we'll just make that be the sink over here. Then at least you've got the space and I can put just a bin or something there that does something that doesn't take up a massive amount of room. Or I'll just do a entirely separate sink like this. I think that looks fine. Matches the colours of what we've picked here as well. And then I'm going to do shelves in order to add like additional bits into our kitchen like I normally do, just because we don't have a massive amount of space and I think it'll look a bit better. So let's grab those. I'm just going to do 2 levels of them, I think. Actually, we don't have a lot of space. Is there a different kind of one that we could use? We could just use these ones and I'll do like 2, just because we do have our oven there, which we're going to need to do some kind of like exhaust coming out of that oven, otherwise it's going to be weird. Okay, so now I'm just adding the final bits of decorations to our kitchen. So I'm just adding a few bits up here to make it feel like it's a bit more cluttered, I think. I don't want to add too much in there because otherwise it's going to feel a bit overwhelming. There we go, so I've just kind of scattered a few bits of decorations up there. That's looking pretty good for our kitchen now. I think we do need a bin, so I'm just going to add one of those next to here, although I feel like it might actually just be impossible to take your rubbish out. I'm not too sure if you can go down a ladder with a bag of rubbish, so I guess we just have to see whether it works or not. But now that we've got that sorted, we can go over here to this area, which I'm honestly not too sure what I'm going to do because I was going to put the dining table upstairs, but I think what I'm going to do is just have it as a sort of little seating area that's less like a living room and more just like so you can hang out with people while they're cooking or something. So we'll just do maybe like 1 dining table and chairs. You could like have your lunch here or something like that instead of like eating at the dining table. So then I can just go ahead and add a couple more plants in there, and that is looking pretty good. I think we could add some additional stuff to these walls here though. I know we've got like aprons and things that might work. We've got these wicker items which look kind of cool. Yeah, let's go with those. I think they actually look really nice in there. We also have this entranceway near the front door, which I'm honestly not sure what I'm actually going to do there. I think let's see if we have any like cabinets or something that we could maybe put there. I feel like this one works quite well. Yeah, that looks alright. And then I might just wiggle this slightly that way, which should be fine. It's weird that you can't see the stairs unless you put it like the roof up, which looks really odd, but it's fine. Okay, and then maybe just like one additional thing on this wall here, and then we can move on to our bedroom. Okay, so I just picked that little picture there. We can now move on to our bedroom, which is going to be quite tight, so I don't know how much we're actually going to be able to fit in here. Obviously, the goal is to be able to put our double bed in there, and then you can fit 2 people in there quite easily. Something like this would work quite well, I think. But we do have these more like summery kind of houses, like kind of beds that I think look okay, but I feel like we could do a little bit better in this room. We just don't want it to be too like big and like bulky, because I think that'll then kind of ruin this, especially because it's like such a small build. This one's quite nice. If I then pull it up towards the back here, the sim should be able to get in quite easily. And then we do kind of need a wardrobe, but we do not have much space. We do have this like small amount of space at the bottom here though, so let's see if we can fit something in. I think this kind of fits. I don't know if you'd actually be able to get there though, which is the issue. I might have to do like wall hooks instead. So what we could do is actually just go with this, put it right in the corner over here, and then we can just have some clothes hanging off of it. There we go. I think that works a lot better for these like smaller spaces. Obviously then we can just go in and add additional plants. I love adding plants to every single room. We'll just go with a couple though, just because this space is very small. And then additionally, I want a picture. We do have these two walls here, so we could add some more stuff. I'm thinking a mirror actually on this one, and then we could have maybe a picture directly above the bed. There we go. So I think that's our bedroom looking pretty nice. We can now finally go upstairs to our last rooms, which is just our small bathroom there, and then we have our dining sort of area over here. Then we need to also do the outside world, which is basically just going to be like ponds, grass, and just making it look as sort of realistic and pretty to live in as possible. So I am going to add a bath just to this section over here, and then we can do our toilet and our sink on this side. I went with this like very rustic looking bath, and I think that looks actually really cool. Let's put the mirror there, and then obviously we need to grab our sink. I'm going to use, I think, the same one that we use downstairs. It's quite a nice sink. Then I do really like this toilet, so I think I'm going to go with this one, and this one's off the grid obviously as well. So that's looking pretty good for our bathroom. I don't think it needs a massive amount else. I might add something back here. I guess we do need towels, so we could add some little towels just above the bath there. Yeah, that's looking a little bit better now. So then we've got this area over here, so obviously this is our dining area, so we'll grab our dining table and chairs. I'm thinking about the layout of this just so that we can fit as many in as possible. Let's go with this dining table, and we can stick it out a little bit. I think if we go like this, then let's grab our chairs. So I'm thinking just some nice little wooden ones would be fine. Something like this maybe. They look all right. Yeah, I like those. So we're going to go with those here, and then I am just going to move this sort of here. I think that looks pretty good. Yeah, I like that. Then I am going to add some flowers to the top of our table just to make it look a little prettier. I think we could go with something like this. Then I definitely think we need something behind the table on this side. I think this would look kind of cool. Yeah, I like that. That looks weird. That actually looks really cool. I like that. Okay, now let's move over to our last bit, which is this section over here where I don't really know what I'm going to put there. I was considering putting like a barbecue or something. We could do something like this, which I think is kind of a good idea, just because then it gives us an additional cooking thing as well. Then maybe we could just add like some little rocking chairs or something to just this outside area here, so that you can sit and watch over everything at this really good height. Yeah, and I think that's actually pretty much done for all of our actual house section of it. We've added everything in that we need in order to survive. So now what we can do is go through and just do all of the decoration for the ground. We do also need to add in our mailbox, which I'm going to add just right next to the stairs. I think we can go with one of these cute ones with the flowers next to it. So I'm going to try and do this decorating from a bit of a distance so we can see our tree, because we need to make sure that we don't get in the way of that. I'm going to do a big pond on this side, which I always really struggle to do because I think terraforming in The Sims is really difficult, but let's see if we can do a very big pond here. I normally just do it a little bit like a jelly bean shape, and then we're going to do another little one here just to make it feel more natural. Okay, it's not too bad. I kind of like that jelly bean shape. Then we'll add a little bit of water over here as well. Yeah, I think that came out looking pretty nice. Then I am going to change the color of the water. I always change it to this like sparkling one just because I think it looks a little bit prettier. Then obviously one of the big things as well is we could terraform a little bit more and increase some of the pieces of ground. I'm not going to do it a massive amount just because I think it might make it a little bit difficult, but we can just sort of make it a bit bumpy. That's probably fine. And then we got to go in and obviously do our remaining trees. I do want to do a path as well that leads us to our front entrance, but I think I'm fine with that just being in like dirt so that it looks like it's kind of used a lot. And we'll just do, I need to do it a bit lighter. We'll do it quite soft. I'm just going to do that leads all the way around to here. And obviously we do want to going to add dirt where the roots of our tree hit the ground as well. There we go. So I just got a bit of a dirt path that leads around. I'm going to do it as well in this little pond that we've got just to make it feel a bit more realistic too. Then now we can go in with additional stuff like if we want any rocks, if we want plants and things like that, we just need to basically just go in and just add a bunch. I'm going to section them off by pack just because then we can get some trees that look like the surrounding area. Obviously you might want to change that if you then put it in somewhere different. Actually now we'll leave it, I'll just try and mimic them. But basically I'm going to use, where's the ones that I really like? There you go. So I use like these ones quite a bit because they're just like sort of bushes but they have some plants in them. I'm just going to go ahead and add a few of these around the base of our tree and then I'm just going to scatter them across the entire area. Add some around our pond as well. Then I'm going to go in with a few more different plants, especially like these flowers, so I'm going to add quite a few of those as well. Then around our pond I'm going to add a bunch of rocks too, just because that definitely makes it feel a bit realistic, and I'm going to change the size of some of them as well so that we've got a bit of a range. There is like a lot more that I'm going to do to this pond, but we'll get to that in a second. I'm just trying to make it, while we're zoomed out, make it look as random as possible, because as soon as we zoom in we're not going to see the tree anymore, and that's important. So I want it to look as random as possible while it's zoomed out, then we can go in and do the finer details. Now I think we can go in with some trees, so I'm just gonna again sort of randomly place them. I do want a range of sizes for this one just because we do have this very big tree here, so I'm gonna add some slightly bigger ones in so that it doesn't weirdly stand out. Okay, so I've now gone around and added in our trees. We can now zoom in a little bit more and just make sure that everything is looking a bit more random, and basically I'm just gonna go ahead and add a few more random touches around these bits. So the tree's looking actually pretty good at the roots there. I'm gonna just add a few more things next to these trees. I think this is probably not needed. Let's move that back a bit. I'm gonna add these as well next to our pond just because they kind of look like reeds. I know that they're supposed to be like blades of grass or something, but I always think they look way better than the ones that are in the pond section of the build mode. So that's looking nicer now. I think we do need a few more random bits. I normally add like these little flowers just to the bottom of the trees too, as well as adding like a little bit of dirt or something under there as well, just to make it feel like it's not just randomly placed onto the ground. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. Then finally we're just going to go back in with a bit of more rough terrain just to pop it around where we've got a lot of these new plants, and I'm just tapping for that just to make it look a little bit more natural on like a softer brush. But I think that's actually looking pretty good. I don't think we really need to add like a massive amount else in. Yeah, I think we're done there. But let me know what you think of this build in the comments below. I think that this came out looking really cool. I really like the fact that it actually looks like someone sort of handmade all of this and then like lugged up some pieces of furniture to make it cozier. This is on the gallery under HextraHunt if you would like to download it. It is called Treehouse Heaven and it is under HextraHunt. While making this though, it did make me feel like I would really want to make a modern version of this, so let me know in the comments below if you'd like to see a more modern, more clean looking take on a treehouse. Be sure to give this video a like if you enjoyed it and subscribe if you haven't already. I post long content like this every Wednesday and Friday around 6 PM and I try to post shorts the rest of the week. If you enjoyed this video, there is another recommended video on the screen now, so check that one out too, and I hope you all have a great evening.